It's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Taisho Alice, and we are continuing where we left off. We're in Kaguya's route. We've done a couple of our bad endings because we're just going through looping. It's just easier because he's got so many that it's just easier to do them as we go. So, picking up where we left off, we're outside now. I'm not sure if we're with him, but anyway, here's Kaguya. I don't know. I'm sorry, whatever. Don't laugh. I'm sorry. It was just such a hilarious reaction. This isn't funny. I pouted my lips. You're so adorable. That's not gonna work on me, mister. But on the inside, it was totally working. A lady's heart is complex, you see. After dinner, we stepped out for our evening stroll. Evidently, Kaguya's idea of flirty was to go on a date. What the fuck, bird? That was weird. Anyway. You're not cold, are you? No, I'm fine. Nevertheless, Kaguya put his shawl over my shoulders. No need to hold back on my account. A delicate bird such as yourself ought to stay warm. What about you? I'm a big, strong man, isn't it? I pressed a hand to his arm. Is this helping? Is it ever? I'm burning up like a furnace. He's fucking adorable. I love him so much. Even if he's a whore. Whatever. Legitimately, I'm giggling too. He adjusted his grip on my hand, gently lacing our fingers together. And I mean, look at how beautifully precious his face is. Alright, whatever. You're just adorable and I love you. It was the classic boyfriend-girlfriend hand-holding. They're nice and toasty now. Yeah. Speed dating. Behind my smile, the words echoed in my mind. We'd only known each other for a few days, and yet we'd already progressed to, well, this. We still didn't know each other all that well. But here we are, holding hands on a date and living together, no less. And writing adorable gay notes back and forth. Naturally, I couldn't pretend I wasn't attracted to him. He was my boyfriend, after all. I loved talking to him, and the mere act of holding hands was enough to set my heart aflutter. Of course, I wasn't about to immediately jump into bed with him, but still, we were doing plenty of other romantic things. The one thing that set our relationship apart was the extremely short time it took to get to this point. In other words, we didn't really have much of a one-sided crush phase. Good, because one-sided crushes suck. Did that make our romance somehow less valid? What made you decide to go out with me, Puppet? Huh? I've been wondering for a while now. What would a pretty girl like you see in a guy like me? It was a good question. Perfect timing, too. I know, right? And we'd only just met, too. Yeah. I fell silent for a moment, then decided to be honest with him. Well, it's because I was curious about you. Even though you'd scarcely known me a few minutes? Yeah, I'd only known you a few minutes, and yet I wanted to know more. I mean, you took a punch like a champ. Just like that, you captured my interest. And that's why you agreed to be my girlfriend. Yeah? Has anyone ever told you you're a bit of an odd duck? How'd you know? I shot him the finger guns. I forgot she does that. How'd you know? She did that in the first one too, didn't she? Can I ask what made you so curious about me? What made you so curious about Kaguya? I decided I liked him. I don't know. Well, that's so funny. Why'd you go out with me? Because I was curious about you. Why were you curious about me? Because I liked you. Why did you like me? Because I was curious about you. So why were you curious about me? Because I liked you. It's like an odd kind of a circle that we're going in here. We are supposed to say I decided I liked him. And we don't have to save yet. Okay. Well, I'd taken a liking to you, obviously. You took a liking to a bloke whose response to getting dumped was to ask you out instead. At least you're self-aware, I guess. You're beautiful and adorable. Come to think of it, why did she dump you anyway? You really want to know? Just for future reference. You'll probably hate me for it, you know. That bad, huh? Yeah. He smiled sadly. well, as curious as I am, I suppose it's not directly relevant to the subject at hand. So let's leave it at that. She's, like, way better, like, or dumber. I'm not really sure, but, like, if you were seeing a guy and you were like, so why did you break up with your last... Do you really want to know because it was bad? Nah, it's fine. Yeah. No, that might change everything. Like, oh, because I'm a whore and I slept with her sister, or, oh, well, you know, I just did... Oh, well, I told her I didn't want to date her if she wasn't going to have sex with me. Like, I mean, there's just certain things that you're like, that tells you the character of a person. It's not like, yeah, we just, I don't know, we just didn't feel right. Or like, no, I mean, they were a good person, but it wasn't the right time for our relationship, or I just didn't feel that like, you know, there's always going to be things like that. But if you're going to admit that, like, oh, I'm a cheating whore, that is going to affect the way I feel about you, not going to lie. We already know that, but again, she's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, he's supposed to be a good person underneath, I'm assuming. Unlike Gretel. I hope, because, like, good lord, we need someone to redeem this. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Or she's just totally okay with it. We'll see what happens when we get to the end of the route, you know what I mean? Like, we were okay with Gretel putting us in a cage, but that's because we were like, well, if you don't put me in a cage, I'm going to put you in a cage. Like, we were both the same level of crazy, so, I mean, I'll just assume we're the same level of crazy here, so. And again, all of the love interests so far have been a little shady in a way. They've all have some kind of negative thing about them, you know, that sure, maybe they grow out of or they fix, but still, they're all a little awful in a way. Like, different varies. Like, Gretel was, like, the craziest, but Cinderella wasn't a saint, and like Red Riding Hood it just had issues, and I guess he was like the lesser of all the evils, but they've all had some kind of negatives about them, so Kaguya is a womanizer, and he doesn't seem to remember the women he's dating. Anyway. You sound like a university professor. I wagged my index finger at him. This isn't a one-sided lecture. This is a discussion between equals. The more we communicate, the more we'll come to understand one another. Right. Now, back to your question. Why do you think I'd take a liking to you, given the circumstances under which we met? Maybe I was your type. Precisely. You were my type. I love weirdos with pretty faces. And you're also wearing a mask, which makes you slightly a weirdo. Physically? Well, yes. What is it? Does that make me shallow? I wouldn't say that. If anything, I'm in the same boat since I made a move on a bird I just met. What about you? Why'd you ask me out? Because you were my type, naturally. I.e. a woman within glancing range. Physically? Right. And that said, I do fancy your personality, too. Even though you barely know me? Yeah. Being with you is lots of fun. I love talking to you, and I reckon your cuteness is more than just skin deep. I like how we had to pause to giggle. She was like, just holding it back. After a moment of silence, I burst out laughing. I think I'm starting to understand why people like you. Women especially. Wait, but you said it yourself, didn't you? I'm kind and always smiling and all that. There is that, but now I've nailed it down a bit more. See, you're really good at reading people's body language. You can tell what people want from you. That's how you always manage to be so considerate and thoughtful. Granted, on the other side of the coin, you could say that he was a people pleaser with a terminal fear of being disliked. You're quite clever, aren't you, Puppet? Smarter than I look, I know. I get that a lot. And honest to boot. Not always. I can lie when the situation calls for it. Nothing wrong with that. I quite like that about you. Thanks. If anything, the real challenge will be staying together. We still barely know each other. All we can do is keep spending time with each other and making memories until eventually we fall in love for real. And, yeah, I like that. It's gonna be difficult. It's just like the prelude to the 700 other bad endings. So what you're saying is, I'll need to work hard to make you fall for me. Yep, and the same goes for me. If I want you to fall in love with me for real, then I'll need to put the equivalent amount of effort into the relationship. Oh, I reckon I fancy you a fair bit already. Well then, I'll just have to make you fall even harder. I shot him a playful wink. Yeah, I'd quite like to fall head over heels if I'm honest. Say, Puppet. His voice suddenly shifted down an octave and he stopped short. Yeah? Likewise, I stopped and turned back to face him. Behind him, I could see a crescent moon hanging in the sky. Oh, the moon. That's not a crescent moon. That is like almost a full moon. Is that a waning? Is it a waxing? Which one is the one where it's like, or is that a gibbous? No, because like a waxing crescent would be like one side and then the waning crescent would be the other. These are like the waxing or waning gibbous. Is waxing the one that it's like this way? Like, see, this would be like the little crescent, the dark side, the dark crescent. I don't know which one's which. But you know what I mean? The other one would be the dark crescent would be over here. I feel like this would be the waning, you know, like, and then the waxing would be the, but that doesn't, I don't know. Anyway, it's a gibbous. Isn't that what it is? Because there's like the full moon. The new moon is dark. Because it's like the dark side of the moon. Crescents are literally not this. Well, this is the complete opposite of a crescent. And then you have the half moon. The is there a quarter moon? I don't know. Anyway, not a crescent moon at any rate. Back up. Beep, beep. Let's back out of that analysis. It's not a crescent moon. Alongside the moon, the sky was decorated with a smattering of stars. Like, look, game, if you're going to call it a crescent moon, it better fucking be a crescent goddamn moon. Fix that shit. Feels like it's been a while since I really looked at the moon. If she said full moon, when you're like, that's definitely not a full moon, but at least it's sort of kind of almost, that would be better. Then Kaguya took his mask off and put it on my head instead. What was that for? With most of my vision now blocked, I can no longer see the moon, just a sliver of Kaguya. Confused, I flinched back, but since we were holding hands, I wasn't going anywhere. On the contrary, the distance between us was slowly shrinking. Yeah, but the mask is a full mask, so... Eventually, all I could see was his face, and then... I let out a depressed sigh. It was evening, and the sky outside the window was draped in twilight. As for the cafe, only one table had any customers. What the fuck just happened there? Like, he puts the mask over, he leans in, and then we remember nothing? Did he suck our memories out of us? Is he a memory-sucking vampire? Since there was nothing left for me to take care of in the dining area, I took out the trash and started to clean the kitchen. Someone's saying hey, I don't know who. I said hey! Ouch! Oh, it was Cinderella. Okay. Someone smacked me over the head. I looked up, tears in my eyes. That's not very nice. What's gotten into you? No idea what you're talking about. This was, of course, a bald-faced lie, but I decided to play dumb regardless. I don't buy that for a minute. You've been acting weird since this morning. Actually, ever since last night. Acting weird? I'm not sure what you mean. I don't recall zoning out or dropping any plates or anything. As far as I can remember, I hadn't made any glaring mistakes at work today. Yeah, well, if you did any of that, I'd have beat some sense back into you. What, like I'm an old TV? That's not gonna fix me. Wanna try it? No, thank you. Well, I'm glad to see at least some part of you is still functioning. He sighed. Likewise, I sighed too. Cinderella, will you pinch my cheeks as hard as you can? How's this? Ow! He stretched my face out as far as it would go. You really don't know how to treat a woman gently, do you? You're the one who told me to do it. Yeah, but I didn't mean that hard. I knew he was doing his best to hold back, but still, I'd have liked him to be a bit more gentle. Okay then, allow me to try again. That's not necessary. What are you lot doing in here? Yeah! I was so startled I dashed around and hid behind Cinderella like a spooked rabbit. Good grief. What? She's asking, what do you want? Red-faced and flustered, I could barely get a single word out. Fortunately, I had Cinderella on hand to translate for me. No need to hide, puppet. Unable to meet his gaze, I concealed myself behind Cinderella, my mouth opening and closing wordlessly, like a fish. Meanwhile, Kaguya sighed sadly. Something happened, and they don't want us to know what it is. Seeing as the last customers are nearly finished, is it alright if I start closing up shop? Sure thing, pal. Gah! Once I made sure Kaguya was gone, I gasped for breath like I'd just come up for air. When I finally raised my head, I found Cinderella staring down at me. You already know what I'm about to say, right? Yeah. Oh, right. Ah! Hey, wait! What the hell? Look, buddy, did you do something to her? Before I knew what I was doing, I dashed all the way up to the second floor. Ugh. Clutching my head, I groaned and whimpered, pacing pointlessly back and forth. I mean, I'm curious now. From an outsider's perspective, I must have looked ridiculous, but it was all I could do to keep myself from imploding. That was the weirdness Cinderella had picked up on, my behavior around Kaguya. I knew I was being obvious, blatantly obvious. But after that, spectacular night, I just don't know how to act around him anymore. What did you do? Whenever I looked at him, my mind flashed back to what happened, and all my composure went right out the window. Obviously, I knew I needed to keep my personal life separate from my work, but whenever I let my guard down, well, you saw what happened back there. As for the details of what exactly happened that night, he kissed me through the mask. I mean, you're wearing a mask and he kissed you. It's not a real kiss. Another vivid flashback shot through my mind. The cringe was so intense I curled into the fetal position and rolled around on the floor. In my mind I was screaming, "Calm down! Be chill!" But I just couldn't get it out of my head. Yes, I knew just how ridiculous I was acting. But I was still only 19. I could dish it, but I couldn't take it. I had trouble reacting to anything I wasn't outright expecting. It's kind of like I'm all talk and no show. I'm like, yeah, come on. Yeah, I want the sexy scenes. And then we have them. I don't want to read these. It's awkward. I'm like, yeah, come on. We need the sexy scenes in the game. What the hell? You don't let me have sex with my boyfriend in a game? And then like in real life, I'm like, yeah, but no. Not interested. It's just so funny. I do that in other games too, where it's like, seriously? Oh my god, stop acting weird. You've been dating for like 6 fucking years. Just do the man already. But it's like, but yeah, no, in real life, I'd be like, no, I'm fine. Whatevs. Just don't think an MC pro tag is going to be like, don't care. They're not usually like that. They're more like, I'm so embarrassed. Oh, for God's sakes, get over that. This is actually funny. Like, her reaction is kind of funny in the embarrassed awkward as opposed to, oh my god, it's so embarrassing, it's so awkward, oh, I'm a delicate flower. She's like overreacting, and it's just amusing. I appreciate it. Burying my fleshed face in my knees, I began to hyperventilate. Just then I heard the sound of a door opening. It's Alice. It's you. And out walked an attractive blonde-haired blue-eyed guy. Hey, psycho. What? Naturally, the first thing he said to me was an ableist slur. Are you crazy or just plain stupid? Got a few screws loose up there? Or did you even have any to begin with? You've been non-stop since yesterday and it's pissing me off. You must be some kind of zombie, huh? Because clearly your brain's rotted to the point where you've lost all speech function. Were you never taught to use your indoor voice after 10 p.m.? You're not the only person who lives here. You want to scream all night long, then go live out in the boonies where you won't have any neighbors. Speaking of me screaming in this. Thanks to you, I've barely gotten any sleep at all. Look at these dark circles under my eyes. Yeah, I see them. When do you think the most important part of the sleep cycle happens? Fun fact, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the time period in which the human body secretes the most melatonin, not to mention the growth hormones needed to repair your skin. But unfortunately for me, I couldn't fall asleep until after you finally shut the hell up, which wasn't until after 2 a.m. My body's now damaged thanks to you. How will you make amends for this? How will you make amends for this? Wow, I mumbled that whole thing. I'm sorry. Nice try, Dippy. I'm not letting you off easy. Dippy? What is this, the 1950s? Also, I have some feedback, or rather, a complaint about your cooking. Could you stop showing off and just cook like a normal person? What do you mean? I mean exactly what I said. Every single meal you always have to make some fancy bullshit like, look at me, everybody, I'm so good at cooking. It's obnoxious. I wasn't trying to show off. Liar. In the beginning, I imagined they looked at your weirdly over-embellished cooking and said nice things to be polite. But you, being the simpleton that you are, actually thought they were serious. So now you just can't stop yourself, can you? You're addicted to the attention. Aren't I, like, so good at cooking? Tell me I'm special, Daddy! So sickeningly fake. I stared at him steadfastly. Do you not enjoy my cooking? I never said that. Not outright, but you're certainly implying it. And if you're not enjoying it, then I want to know. Ha! You looked away. That means you like it. No! I hate it, I hate it, I hate it! I can never like that crap. Funny how you always manage to clean your plate. Oh, quit smirking. You disgust me. Just because I ate your food doesn't mean I liked it. Have you not considered the possibility that I prefer not to leave leftovers where possible? Oh, really? Is that out of respect for the chef, the food itself, or for the people who go hungry every day? Excuse me? Are you stupid? I don't think about that crap while I'm eating. Besides, it's all just a bunch of self-important BS meant to make you feel better about yourself. And for the record, it's not some poverty mindset about not letting things go to waste either. There's no honor in overstuffing yourself just to clean your plate. If anything, that's more inefficient. So you do it because it tastes good? And another thing, I'm sick of the French and Italian and casserole this and Flemish that and whatever the hell ratatouille is. Are we in Europe? No. Quit with the foreign shit and make normal people food. What, like Big Macs? Are you doing this on purpose? Or are you literally so stupid that you cannot comprehend the words coming out of my mouth? So far, what I'm getting from this is that you'd like to have some simple meals now and then, in addition to the fancy stuff. Ugh, not bad for a dunce like you. But you're not getting any ass pats from me. I'm not gonna stroke that ego of yours. Who, me? I don't have an ego. And another thing, you could take that sarcasm and shove it. Gee, thanks. Ow! This is my third time getting my cheeks pinched today. From now on, if the meal is a stupid French name, don't serve it to me. Alright then. I'll take that to mean you won't need any dessert either, right? Since dessert is a French word. Are you screwing with me, or are you just that stupid? Which is it, huh? You think this is funny? Stop! Make that 4 cheek pinches. Huh. Ugh. Alice, you're such an ass. Me? You can play the victim all you want, but you're the villain here. Oh, okay, so you are Alice. Nice to meet you, I guess. My name's... He slammed the door in her face. Feeling defeated, I trudged down the stairs. I'm not looking forward to his route just because I'm going to have to scream like that the whole time, and it takes a lot out of me. But also, I love doing it, but it just takes a lot out of you. But right when I was finally lucky enough to meet my mystery neighbor, he turned out to be a gremlin from hell. On the upside, however, I was a lot calmer now. Sure, he was rude, but his complaints themselves were still justified. The fact of the matter was, I was being obnoxious and I needed to stop. I clapped myself on the cheeks to psych myself up. All right, I can do this. I can't just mope around forever. Here I am! Right as I burst into the kitchen, however, I saw Kaguya go flying across the room. Huh? He crashed into a chair, bringing it with him to the floor. Kaguya! Oh, hello, puppet. As I hastily helped him up, I found he was somehow still smiling. You're bleeding. Blood trickled from his mouth, probably from cutting his lip on his teeth. It's no big deal. Yes, it is. I pressed my handkerchief to his lip. Don't, puppet. Your handkerchief will get stained. That's what they're there for. Well, at least this way we're talking again, I suppose. Huh? My heart skipped a beat. Could someone please tell me what's going on? I looked from Kaguya to Cinderella, who was just standing there idly. I punched him. And why did you do that? I did my best to keep my voice level. He told me he put the moves on you. And by that you mean, what happened last night? Yeah, that's right. He said he forced himself on you. Forced himself on me? I mean, sure, it was forceful, but he's my boyfriend, and besides, it was just a kiss. Yeah, that's it. It was just a kiss. No big deal. Especially through a mask. Your lips didn't touch. But it was no big deal. Hardly more than a greeting in some countries. I tried to stay calm, but my voice came out in a strained yelp. A greeting? Are you serious? Then he gave me this weirdly compassionate look. It's alright. You don't have to put on an act. I'm really not, though. Enough, okay? He pulled me close and patted me on the head. Okay? Enough of what? Never in all the time I'd known him had he ever treated me so kindly? Because he thinks you were attacked. He's being a good boy. But we really weren't. We're just overreacting. I was so stunned I sort of just let it happen. But it kind of felt like there was some sort of misunderstanding. Or was I overthinking it? My bird is just snuggled up on my neck, but he's like adjusting himself and his little feet are gripping into my, like, that spot between your neck and your shoulder. And it's like, it just feels fun. Sorry. I mean, the guy's total scum for making you do it outdoors. Especially for your first time. I burst out laughing. Gross! He used his sleeve to wipe my spit off his face. Cinderella, my friend, I think maybe you've got the wrong idea. What are you talking about? He pressured you into it, right? Cinderella thinks we had sex. I think your imagination is getting a little carried away, you perv. How am I the perv when he's the one who forced himself on you? He didn't. It was just a kiss. A little smooch, a peck. And it wasn't even on the lips. There was a mask between us. What? 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 The 3 types of what in a nutshell. Ow. 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 Cinderella shoved past me and grabbed Kaguya. Hey, Kaguya! Is she telling the truth? Yeah. You dumbass! You need to explain these things! He shook Kaguya vigorously by the shoulders. Terribly sorry about that. Cinderella, don't! He's injured. Oh, right. Sorry, pal. Ouch! As Cinderella let go of him, he slammed headfirst into the wall. Well, what can I say? My bad. He held up his hands in a defensive pose. I mean, it's nice to know that Cinderella would defend us. Such a gentleman in that suit. Well, no harm done, really. Either way, I'm the one who messed up. Kaguya smiled weakly. No, you didn't. You didn't mess up at all. I'm the one who got all freaked out about it for no reason. I got freaked out? I paused to examine my own statement. Huh? Oh, sorry. Cinderella pressed a hand to his mouth, shoulders shaking. But I already saw his grin and I knew what this was about. I mean, think about it. You were so rattled, I was sure he must have traumatized you. But now I found out it was just a kiss. Through a mask. What are you, 5? He burst into a fit of laughter, pointing at me with one hand, clutching his side with the other. I love him. Rude! I pounded my fist on his chest in protest, but it was too late. He couldn't stop. He laughed and laughed until he was practically crying. Oh, right. Just then I remembered I was supposed to go and help Kaguya to his feet. God, I don't know what to say except, I'm so sorry. That's alright, Puppet. No need to apologize. I'll take a wallop if it means you'll look me in the eyes again. Kaguya, at the time you were just so cute. I couldn't stop myself from kissing you. But now I wish I'd held back. You were so cute. He kissed a mask. He kissed his bunny mask. I'm just saying. You were so embarrassed, you couldn't even look at me properly. Anytime I tried to talk to you, you'd flinch away. Of course you're adorable when you're embarrassed, too. But I much prefer your smile. Sometimes it takes a while when you click and it's like it doesn't. I think it's my I don't know if it's the game, the way it's running on my computer, because it's being weird. Can you forgive me? In that moment, my chest ached as though my heart was in a vice. My pulse was racing and my cheeks were flushed. What's the matter? I think I might love you. Well, as it happens, I'm quite keen on you myself. Kaguya! I leapt into his arms. What is even happening? Oh my god, Snow White's actually here! I think you're the romantic foil in this situation. That doesn't make any... Wait, what the... Snow! When did you get here? Oh, just now. By the way, your customers are really confused. Oh, crap! Thank you for coming! We hope to see you again soon! Phew! Once the last customer was gone, I heaved a sigh of relief. Good grief! And thanks to you two, we nearly ruined the cafe's reputation. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, too. The two of us knelt on the floor, humbling ourselves. Apparently, the customers were waiting to get their checks the entire time. Naturally, they heard everything we were saying in the kitchen, and they were rather alarmed. Fortunately, they were quick to forgive us in the end, but I still felt bad. Good people, they could have just left and been like, let's just leave. Listen, whatever punishment you give us, give it all to me. Kaguya. I glanced over to find him smiling faintly. The whole thing was my fault. I never should have stepped away from the dining area to begin with. Normally his smile would come across as flippant in a situation like this one, but I knew better. I could see his fists trembling in his lap. Punishment? You have no right to get mad at them. All of you forgot. Well, yeah. I admit I'm partially to blame. You're only running the cafe as a hobby anyway. Since when do you care about reputation or profit or anything? Point taken. For now, let's just put the whole thing behind us, alright? I can't handle this maudlin crap. Let's all just get over it, myself included. At this, I placed a hand over Kaguya's trembling fist. Puppet, let's just make sure it doesn't happen again, okay? I smiled, hoping to reassure him. Right. We got to our feet and turned to the guy who saved our bacon. Thank you for defending us, Snow White. No problem. He turned away, cool as ice. Later, in the kitchen, we were all seated around the dining table. I was sitting next to Kaguya. Across from us sat Cinderella and Snow White. Now that everything's calmed down, allow me to introduce you. Snow White, this is my boyfriend Kaguya. I gestured energetically to Kaguya next to me. You sure changed your tune quick. You know what they say, women are as variable as April weather. Then again, it's winter right now. Yeah, whatever. It's very nice to meet you. My name is Kaguya, and I'll be staying here for a spell. Kaguya held his hand out for a handshake. I'm Snow White. Nice to meet you. While Snow introduced himself in kind, he did not accept the proffered hand. He didn't even meet Kaguya's gaze. He's just that awkward. Oh, don't worry about him. He's like this with everyone. Right then. Kaguya nodded and lowered his hand. So you're Cinderella's younger brother? That was the extent of what I knew about Snow White. What I knew about Snow White. Wow. What I knew about Snow White. Sounds weird. Like, that's what I knew about Tim. That's what I know about Tim. But when you say I knew about Snow White, for some reason, it just sounded weird in my... I don't know why. Wow, anyway. Yeah. Yep. This is actually only the second time I've met him. Oh, really? Interesting. He's a free spirit. Usually he stays at Mom's house, but every now and then he wanders over. Isn't that right? Snow White glanced in Cinderella's direction, then immediately looked away. Hello? Answer the question. That's nice, actually. That means he's got a place to call home, isn't it? Right. I guess you don't have one of those. Can't say I do. Cinderella gave a non-committal grunt in response, and after a moment his lips curled in a cruel smirk. Let me guess. Did your folks disown you because all the womanizing? Let's not talk about it in front of my girlfriend, mate. Kaguya's gaze shifted to me. I admit, I'm curious, but I'm not worried about it. There was still a lot about him I didn't know, but I could afford to wait until he was comfortable telling me. You're so mature. He ruffled my hair playfully. What is it, Snow White? I realized Snow White was staring at Kaguya's head. That mask. All at once, everyone looked up at Kaguya's mask. Is that a rabbit? Well spotted. It is indeed. Oh, it's a rabbit. That's cute. I thought it was a fox. No, it's a rabbit. Which is weird, because usually it would be a fox, right? Isn't it? Of course you're as cute as a bunny yourself. Aw, thanks. I tilted my head in his direction and he ruffled my hair some more. What is it? Nothing. I try to make sure that mask doesn't slip off one day. I'll be careful. In contrast with Kaguya's jovial laughter, Snow White stared back coldly. As I attempted to decipher this exchange, however, something else occurred to me. Oh crap, I forgot about dinner! Oh yeah, alright, yeah, me too. I got distracted with all the drama. I'll get started on it now. I rose to my feet and Kaguya followed suit, peanut butter and jelly sandwich for the asshole upstairs. Sounds so good. Let me help you, Puppet. That'd be great. I opened the fridge and took stock of our inventory on hand. Salami, cheese, chicken, eggs, veggies. What are you making tonight? Feels like we haven't had something light and simple in a while. Any requests? I'm happy with anything you make me. What about you, Cinderella? Snow White? Nah, anything's fine. I'll pass. Okay, then. Evidently, no one was opposed to me making something simple per Alice's request. Not that I'd care if they did oppose it. Still, the idea of making something like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for dinner bored me to tears. Peanut butter and jelly is good, shut the fuck up. If Alice knew I felt that way, he'd scoff and call me a diva. But, sometimes you just want a sandwich, but, peanut butter and jelly, sandwich for, lunch? Fuck yeah. Folding my arms, I contemplated tonight's menu. I do think it's funny that I was like, peanut butter and jelly for the bitch upstairs, and then she was like, peanut butter and jelly bores me to tears. Girl! Love peanut butter and jelly. Look, I know it's a 6-year-old food, but everybody fucking loves it. There's nothing like a good peanut butter and jelly. Anyway. Folding my arms, I contemplated tonight's menu. Oh, what's the matter? I want to make something simple, but I don't know what. I want something that's simple and classy that I can make from scratch. Simple and classy. Let's see. How about fish sticks? That's perfect! I snapped my fingers. Fish sticks were simple on their own, but I could spice things up by making a few fancy dipping sauces. Is it? Excellent. Oh, but dang it, we don't have any fish. Oh, they're frozen. You get them out of the... Shall I go fetch us some? I'll come with you. Cinderella, would you mind if we ran to the store real quick? No prob. Just don't take too long or I'll assume you're having sausage for dinner instead. He smirked at me as he leaned against his chair. Okay. Oh my god, she did not get that innuendo. When he said that, I was like, is he meaning to say that? At first I didn't get it, but then the innuendo sunk in. Ah! Whoa there. In retaliation, I raised my fist, but Kaguya grabbed my arm to stop me. Let go, Kaguya! Now, Puppet. Let's get going, shall we? Fucking love Cinderella. And Zoe dragged me outside. Ugh, so humiliated. I didn't need a mirror to know my face was beet red. I know I'm in no position to talk, but I wouldn't worry about it, to be honest. He wasn't trying to make you feel bad. He just worries about you is all. I know. And that's my good girl. He gently stroked my hair as I slumped my shoulders. After a moment, I straightened myself up and looked over at him. What's the matter? Kaguya seems unruffled. How do you react? Ask about his lip is the right answer. How's your lip? I started to reach out to touch it, then stopped myself. Oh, I'm alright. Grinning, Kaguya waved his hand dismissively. You sure? The punch was pretty recent. Right you are. But, it was my fault, really. Why don't you ever stand up for yourself? What? All these people keep hitting you, but you never fight back. You never protest. You just take it. Granted, I'm not saying you should fight back, but it just worries me sometimes. I don't want you to bottle it all up inside. You're a nice girl, Puppet. No, I'm not. But I am your girlfriend, so it's only natural that I worry about you. Kaguya's eyes widened and he smiled softly. I let out a sad sigh. Feels like you got me wrapped around your little finger. You reckon? I do. I stopped short. Kaguya followed suit. Then, clasping my hands in front of me, I turned to face him, my head tilted. I gotta be honest, I'd much rather have you wrapped around my finger. That's what I'm used to. Oh, I'm aware. I was still in the honeymoon phase of the relationship, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Shall we hold hands, Puppet? Sure. I took his proffered hand and we set off. Now it felt like a date. The winter air felt nice and cool against my flushed skin. The moon looks really pretty tonight. That it does. And now it's a half moon. Looking at the moon reminded me it was not a crescent before. Have you heard of the rabbit who lives on the moon? Oh my god. A rabbit? Yeah, don't you see him up there? I can't say that I do. Can you? Nope. I guess it's kind of hard to see from here. Maybe it's because the moon's so far away. Or maybe it's all the light pollution. And he's got a rabbit mask, not a fox mask. Interesting. But centuries ago, our ancestors could see an outline of a rabbit making rice cakes. Or so they say. I mean, the rabbit in the moon is not like we all know about the rabbit in the moon. What? With a mortar and pestle? Yep. Though I have to wonder why a rabbit would want to make rice cakes. And to eat them, isn't it? They're quite Moorish. You like rice cakes? I do indeed. Interesting. And it was weird because... Oh, wait a minute. Huh. Curious now. He's got a rabbit mask. He put the mask on us when we were looking at the moon. We're like, look at the moon! And he's like, look at me instead, and then put the mask on her. Maybe he was like, don't look at it, it's not really a crescent, Spacey. Just kidding. Having acquired an exciting new piece of info, I fist-pumped internally. So, while we're on the subject of rabbits... My mask? Yeah, maybe you're a rabbit too. Oh my god, is he a rabbit? Jesus Christ. If I was, I reckon I might just go back to the moon someday. Oh my god, he's the rabbit in the moon, isn't he? Is that the story? You're all like weird fairy tales, right? And like fable things, like... If you tried that, I'd do everything in my power to stop you. And I mean everything. It wouldn't actually be like the perfect knowledge because like Hansel and Gretel, but you know what I mean? Like the Gretel thing, like we're the witch and we lived in a candy, like... They took some liberties, but like... You'd stop me going. Darn right. Well then, I wouldn't stand a chance against you, Puppet. And maybe that's where he went all those times he disappeared. He went back to the moon because we broke his heart. Oh my god. Sure, maybe Kaguya was just joking around. But to me, it felt like maybe he kind of meant it. He seemed so unassuming at first glance, but deep down he was an enigma, constantly threatening to slip away into the night. That's like the rabbit in the moon does. It slips away into the night. Well, it slips away into the sunrise, technically, because, I mean, the moon's still always there, but like... Sometimes you can see it during the day, but sometimes you can't. You know what? Whatever. Shh. Oh, right. Here's an interesting tidbit. Stop me if you've heard this one. What is it? I flinched, startled from my thoughts. With those big long ears, a rabbit can hear voices from miles away. I blinked and tilted my head. It can? It can indeed. And that's how they learn all the deepest, darkest secrets. I better not talk out loud then when I talk about you. Which emotion best describes your response to this? Pity. That must be really hard. Hard for whom? For the rabbit, of course. The secret teller will never find out they were overheard unless you tell them, but the eavesdropper has to live with that knowledge forever. That's why people keep secrets at all, because that knowledge can never be revoked. And on top of that, the rabbit can't choose not to hear it, right? Right. Which makes it even worse, since a lot of secrets are malicious in nature. Even if that malicious intent is directed at someone else and not them personally, it doesn't make it pleasant to hear. The moment you heard it, you'd cast judgment on the secret teller and fall into despair. Despair? Oh my god, we're in a fucking Danganronpa game. You can't add the ding dong bing bong or the word despair without me falling into that rabbit hole. Ha! Rabbit hole. Yeah. I imagine the rabbit would come to hate himself. Why's that? He'd realize he carried those very same dark thoughts within himself. But simply, he'd realize he was no different from the secret tellers he so reviled. At that point, I'd start plugging my ears or something. Such compassion you have for one little rabbit. I can't know for sure how other people feel, but I can at least imagine it. The societal code dictates treat others as you wish to be treated, but even then there's no guarantee that they want to be treated that way. Since we can't know what the other person is thinking, we have to observe them and make an educated guess. Which is where communication comes in. Sonotori, that's right. I shot him the finger guns. But rabbits can't talk, you know. Sure, but there are other ways of expressing yourself. Such as? Well, there's body language and facial expressions. Rabbits don't have facial expressions. Or maybe we just think they don't. Maybe we just need to spend more time with them to recognize them. Besides, you never know. They might write letters like we do. You mean the exchange diary? They don't have thumbs. Exactly. Speaking of which, Kaguya, it's your turn tonight. Right you are. Not to worry. I haven't forgotten. He stopped short to stroke my hair. I'm honestly so glad I met you, Puppet. Well, that was random. It's hardly random if it's always on my mind, is it? You're just so adorable. My love for you grows with each passing moment. Glad I met you too. Yeah? Glad to hear it. I closed my eyes and gave myself over to the feelings of his palm against my hair, almost like I really was a bunny. When at last the warmth of his hand pulled away, I slowly opened my eyes once more. There, I found Kaguya gazing tenderly back at me. Instantly, I thought back to last night and trembled. Somehow I was embarrassed, happy, and a tiny bit fearful all at once. Just then... Oh, it's the waitress! Oh, is that the dude? Come on in! I was so startled by the familiar voice, I straightened my posture and blurted out a response, reflexively slipping into work mode. When I turned around, I found one of the cafe's regulars standing there. That would explain why my brain defaulted to come on in, of all things. Good evening. Fancy running into you here. Are you all done with work for the day? Yep, I just got off work. What about you? Are you on your way home? It would have been rude to blow him off, so I decided to make small talk. Yeah. Smiling stiffly, his gaze wandered to Kaguya beside me. This is the dude that was asking us out in the beginning. Who's this? Oh, this is... I tried to answer, but Kaguya stopped me. I'm a new hire, just started a few days ago, and the name's Kaguya. You're a regular at our cafe, yeah? I hope to see you sometime soon. Oh, I see. I haven't been by in a few days, so I had no idea. Well, hopefully you find some time to come see us. Right, Spacey? Right. I smiled to hide my internal conflict. You'd think he'd want to say that he's your boyfriend. After we parted ways with the regular, we walked in silence for a while. How come... I wanted to ask how come you didn't introduce yourself as my boyfriend, but the words wouldn't come. I knew he had intentionally avoided the subject in order to keep things professional, but I would have liked him to be at least a little protective of me around other guys. Bobbit, look! There's the fishmonger. He changed the subject with eerily apt timing. Let's get in and get out quickly so Cinderella doesn't make any more creepy jokes when we get back. And so I forced myself to let it go. Interesting. Interesting. That was Cinderella's reaction to his first fish stick. How is it? I stopped eating and looked at him expectantly. Good. I admit I wasn't excited to eat poor people food, but it's actually not that bad. Glad to hear it. They're so light and crunchy. Thus far, I'd been making a lot of intricate dishes, so it was nice to have a more lazy dinner for a change. But you still actually got the fish, cut it up, bread it, as opposed to lazy dinners. I took them out of the fucking freezer and I put them on a pan in the oven. That's lazy. Not I cut the fish up and I breaded it my fucking self and then fried, like... That's fancy fish sticks. Oh, thanks to Kaguya and Alice for giving me the idea. Oh, I didn't do much. I reckon all the credit goes to Alice for his, feedback. Wait, what? How did you know about that? Ears! Rabbit! Then it hit me. Oh god, you heard everything? While he and I were having our argument, you two were having a hell of a time upstairs. Okay, Cinderella heard it too. I mean, Alice is not quiet, so... Ugh. Embarrassed, I buried my face in my hands. I wouldn't be embarrassed. Alice is the asshole. That's why it's fun. Honestly, I should have known they would have heard us, given how loud Alice was screaming. Wait. Does that mean they all heard me whimpering and groaning too? We were trying to have a serious conversation, but your antics totally killed the mood. A good thing I was wrong about what happened. No laughing at the dinner table. Sure thing. God. I pouted at him. Then I glanced over at Kaguya and realized he wasn't eating. Do you not like it, Kaguya? Oh no, I like it fine. It's very good. And yet he's barely eaten any of it. You don't have to force yourself to eat it, you know. Oh, that's not it. Then what the hell is it? This was your idea. Right. Look, pal, can you wipe the stupid smirk off your face for 2 seconds? You're pissing me off. Relax, mate. I'm not your mate, bro. At the rate we were headed, Cinderella was only getting more furious. Okay, hold on. Oh, shit. That's supposed to be save 4. I just hope I remember... Oh, wait. Oh, I can just save here. Oh, never mind. So this will be our save for... How do you handle... That'll be our save 4. We're supposed to make a save 4 because we choose the answer here. The next choice is a bad ending, but save 4 we have to come back and we go through a lot of stuff before we get an ending. This is a longer bad ending. We're not going to do now. We're going to do the right one. So, change the subject. I immediately changed the subject. I'm assuming we start there with like scold and blah blah blah, and then going on different choices, and then we get a bunch of them, because there's no like reload. You know what I mean? So, is Snow White really not going to eat with us? Nah, he doesn't eat. And he hasn't starved to death somehow? I guess not. He's alive, isn't he? Okay, but seriously though, how has he survived without eating? I turned to Kaguya so as to include him in the conversation. Oh, we really owe you one, puppet. Huh? Honestly, he's doing himself a disservice by not eating this wonderful meal. Agreed. But I can sort of understand the reluctance to eat it. Huh? How so? Sometimes I have to wonder, Am I a burden staying here and eating their food as well? Going by that logic, wouldn't you feel equally bad for wasting the food we prepared for you? I suppose so. Anyway, I'm sure Snow White has his reasons. I reckon it's best to just leave him be. He eats when nobody's looking. He doesn't like eating with people. He goes and then later he gets a piece of cheese. He goes in his room and stuffs the cheese in his face when no one's looking. Well, thanks for the food. As soon as he finished his dinner, Cinderella rose to his feet. What about dessert? Just bring it to my room later. Kashikomarimashita. Kashikomarimashita. Goshujin-sama? Yes, sir. Goshujin-sama? When I saw it, I was like, is it Kashikomarimashita? But it's such a long word that I have to pause and read it just to make sure that I'm saying. Like, I've heard it before, and I know the word, but it's one of those things, like, because it's so long, you're like, because it's gonna be, then there's gonna be, like, it's a me instead of a ma, and then you're like, then you're totally fucked up, you know what I mean? You say the total wrong things. Long words, man. Kashikomarimashita. Goshujin-sama? Goshujin-sama. Yes, sir! It's so funny, because they put that in chat, and they're like, yes, sir! Yes, sir! And that just reminds me of fucking Black Butler when they say that sometimes. I saw him off with a firm salute. Now it was just the two of us. With nothing to talk about, we continued eating in silence. Once I finished, I stacked my plate on top of Cinderella's. Like bitch couldn't even bring it to the sink for himself. I glanced over at Kaguya to find him still slowly working through his food. Was he always such a slow eater? Thought back to all the other meals I'd shared with him. All I can remember, though, was that he's always complimented the taste, no matter what he ate. Whenever I asked him for specific requests, he'd shrug his shoulders, just as he did tonight. But when I asked him to help me brainstorm something simple, only then did he suggest fish sticks. And now that he was eating said fish sticks, he was progressing more slowly than ever. Rabbits don't eat fish. As I watched him, a thought occurred to me. Hey, Kaguya? Do you like fish sticks? I do indeed. Believe it or not, he actually seemed a bit bashful about it. There's enough for you to have seconds, you know. What? Oh, right. Thanks. No need to be shy. Interesting. He stopped eating. What is it this time? Was it something I said? Or is he the kind of person who can't eat when someone else is watching? I thought about it for a moment, then decided to clear away the empty plates. Humming to myself, I kept the mood light. I began to wash the dishes in the sink, to keep the mood light, sorry. After a moment, I heard him start eating again. In spite of my relief, I felt guilty that I had made him uncomfortable. Sorry, puppet. Huh? His voice was barely audible. Why would he apologize? Had he wronged me in any way? I turned to find him standing there holding his empty plate. You don't want seconds? Nah. Okay then, I'll wash it for you. Go ahead and have a seat. Let me help you with the dishes. He rolled up his long sleeves. And that was when I saw it. The dark red lines that ran across his arm like scratch marks. And I knew what they were. But before I could say anything, he unrolled his sleeves again. Oh, Kaguya? I got scratched by a cat, see? I hadn't asked for an explanation, but he gave me one regardless. Meanwhile, I thought back over our history together. It only took a few seconds to arrive at a conclusion, either because I didn't have many memories to review, or because I'd always felt something was off with him. I mean, something's off with him, but... Kaguya, can I ask you something? In response to this, you ask, are you cutting yourself? Do you have amnesia? This is where we quick save. Because this one, we're going to get a bad end. So we ask if he's cutting himself. Which is funny, because they make the scratches on his arm to make you think, but the right answer is, do you have amnesia? Because that actually explains the... what the wizard said in that one bad ending. Like, oh, well, how do you know that maybe he didn't know about it? Maybe he didn't know he was cheating. And he was like, who are you? To that lady. So, like, anyway. Right. Save 5. Then we get it. Yeah, okay. Are you cutting yourself? My words made him flinch. Then his lips began to twitch, possibly from forcing them into a smile. No, why would you do that? His pained expression pained me in turn. I mean, maybe he still is, but I couldn't understand what would drive him to do such a thing. I reached out to touch him, but he smacked my hand away. Sorry. I'm so sorry. His eyes widened as if he was just as startled as I was. Then they filled with tears, and he staggered backwards before bolting from the room. Wait, don't go! Oh dear, I can't believe you went there. Huh? Admittedly, yes, that was a rather delicate situation. You want to know who I am? I'm amazed you have the composure to think about it, little heroine. Well, I suppose it's a recurring staple at this point. I am the wizard. Nice to meet you. What do I mean by wizard? Ah, yes, that's another of our staples, isn't it? A wizard is a wizard, nothing more, nothing less. End of story. Now get out there and try again. This is the perfect place to end. So I'm going to end on that bad ending, and when we come back, we will reload save 5 and start from that point and ask him if he has amnesia and do the right choice. So, perfect timing. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.